Hey guys, welcome back to Bad Hombre Garage. For those of you who missed that this is part one, or maybe if you haven't seen this channel before, make sure you just click down here and hit the subscribe button. And then there's a little bell, hit that, that way you get notified when I post part two of this two-part series, what I hope is a two-part series, of mounting this. The visor from a 3031 Model A onto my 1929 Model A, the Bad Hombre. Follow along, check it out, see if I turn this into a hot mess or if it ends up looking cool in the end. Hey guys, welcome back. Back in the garage today. It's Saturday. It's kind of the end of the first week of lockdown. Everybody's been social distancing and not supposed to really leave the home. It's been a pretty weird week. I can feel for a lot of you guys with just the weirdness going on out there in the world today. But I learned a lesson today I wanted to share with you guys, and it's this. I needed to spend time with my kids. I spent a lot of time inside while I was working from home, and they were home from school, but we just needed to go out and have some fun. So I wanted to come out here in the garage and work on this thing a little bit, and funny enough, the kids weren't that excited about, trimming metal and doing that kind of stuff. So I said, all right, let's just have some fun. So we came out in here and they cut a bunch of boards up and painted things and built stuff, and I'll show you here. My son made me this, a little sign hung by some electrical wire for Bad Hombre Garage. My daughter made a painting, my middle daughter made a painting and cut a bunch of wood for that as well. And so we had a good time. So I lost a few hours of hot rod time, but way more than made it up with my kiddos, just doing some good stuff. So that was my lesson for today. Not a lot of car work got done, but I sure had a good time with the kids. All right, so all that being said, we are back in the garage. I got a little bit of time, so I figured I'd start tackling my next project here on the car. I wanted to mock up my frame, my windshield frame, so I did. I have two of them. One's here, you can see the other one against the wall there. The other one is pretty hammered. It's not all there, and it's metal, and it's got some primer on it. It's in bad shape. This one's chrome and actually has all the pieces, well, some more of the pieces to it, and is in better shape. But it's, as you can see here, it's kind of rusty. I guess it matches the motif of the car, chrome and rust. But it's all right. I'll deal with that later. What I know now is that it fits, and then I can put this visor on here without it getting in the way. The visor itself is off of a 30 or 31 Model A car, and I like it a lot better because of all these real just beautiful reveals in the metal, and it's a little bit different shape. It looks like a lot more finished project than what you might see on some of the earlier stuff or Model T or something. I want to put it on the car. I'm not going to run the vinyl roof. It's not original, not going to be original, so I will do some trimming on this thing to put it mounted on here. First thing I'm going to have to do though, I think this old 90-year-old wood, this header piece is going to have to come off. So I'll unbolt that and get rid of it and see what I have left there to mount up the visor on. This project reminds me that as mankind, we waited way too long to invent the Phillips screwdriver. It is a pain in the butt taking out all of these flathead screws in this thing. Okay, well, got it. You can see it was pretty rotted out anyway, but that wood is not going back in. That's pretty cool. That's original stuff. 1929. Okay, so check it out. You can see how I have this mocked up here, just kind of clamped on. I believe the 3031 would drill in from the front and bolt that way, I think. But that's not how this is going to work on this one. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up welding this all in here. You can see looking down across here though what I got to deal with. I think it'd be easy enough to build myself a patch that covered this right here, and then I could zip this off and weld it in there and then fill in these holes. But if you look across here, that leaves me a big gap underneath here that I don't necessarily want. So what I'm gonna have to do is probably, I mean, I don't know if you can tell that has a wanger in it. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to straighten this piece. Then I might zip this little bump off because I don't like it. I might zip it off right in front of that and then come right in there with a piece of sheet metal and break it down and tie it into this header piece here. That's probably what I'm gonna do for that. But nonetheless, that's kind of the problem set I'm dealing with. I don't know how to do it right, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna figure it out. So I think I'm gonna call that quits for the night, though. I'm gonna go inside. Got a little in-house project to do. I'll think on this one for a while and come back at it tomorrow. Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a couple days, but back in the garage. Had a few days to think about this project of mounting my visor here on the old Model A. And I came up with a solution. If you remember last time, I was kind of scratching my head about this gap that was going to be up underneath the visor here and on top of this metal header panel. So I did a bunch of research, and what I found online about these things is there's a lot of different pieces that go into here, but they're all aimed towards setting up for the vinyl top. Like, for example, the original would have the wood that came up with kind of an eyebrow here, and then there was another piece of metal that came in and kind of sealed off to what would be the visor there. And that all ties into how the windshield would mount and the big long hinge for that. And what I determined is, I know I'm not going back original. I don't really care for it to be original. No disrespect to that, it's just not where I'm going with this. I'm not going to have a vinyl top on the car in the traditional sense, and I don't want that big eyebrow look, if you remember the eyebrow a lot of Model A's have before the visor. I don't want that. So, if you remember where we left off, I wanted to figure out how to mount this up, and my objective here is for it to be, let's see if I can get a good perspective, for it to be in line with the roof. Okay, so that means bring the visor up from where it would have been traditionally. So you can kind of see this line here where it comes down, and I can move this piece of metal to give a better look at it. Okay, so I want it to come down. I need to bring this down just a touch to bring that in line. I also will end out bringing this back. So here's my solution. I got this 1-inch piece of square tube you saw I had sitting in here. And what's going to happen is this is going to mount right on top of that header piece. And you can see if I can just bring this lip back to overlap on this. What I'll do is just probably weld this to this and this piece down to the header here. And then I'll come in and I'll fill in this edge with some sheet metal. But what that'll involve me doing is bringing this visor back. So I'll probably come in right here, zip that off, bring my visor back, and weld it here. Here's my issue though. If you can get a good look at this header here, let's see if I can get the perspective, and you can see it has a crown to it, okay? So I've got to try to make this piece of thin wall 1-inch square tube make that crown. If I can make it to do that, to bend in it like that crown, then it'll be real easy for me to come in here with this piece, and it'll keep that same shape and tie it on. Okay, so now we got a vision, probably more detailed than you care about how I'm going to attempt to do this. But I'm going to try it. I don't know if I'm going to have to heat that thing up to get the bend, or if I'll get lucky and can just clamp it on there and make it. Either way, if you're a traditionalist, which I doubt like 10 of you that watch my videos are, but if you're a traditionalist about Model A's, this is not the way Henry Ford did it, so you might be disappointed. But if you're a problem solver and you want to figure out how to make a hot rod look right, or at least look good enough to get out on the road, follow along. Hey, check this out. So I took my piece of square tube, clamped it on there, and I don't know if you can get a view of that or not, but it looks like that's going to work pretty good. It'll maintain the curve, what we're looking for. So what I'm going to do now is I've got to come in here and figure out exactly what that's going to look like. Trim it off on my edges there, and then figure out how to get that to slide in there. I'll just bolt it down on that bolt that would hold the wood header down. So there we go. I think this project is going to work out. I'm going to keep jamming away out of here for a little bit, and we'll see what I can get done. All right, quick update of how the progress is coming along here. If you get down at this angle right here, you can see that my piece of square tube has a nice crown to it. It follows this contour. You can kind of see it in there now. I got to bring it down a little bit more here. It's just held in with one of the bolts that had the wood held in before. And then I got it clamped on that end, but I got it trimmed up pretty close. The next thing I've got to do is get in here with my little MIG welder and start tacking this together. I'll start here in the middle, and then I'll work my way out and clamping and tacking it down and bring that down so that it sits down nice and snug on each side, and then I can go on to mounting my visor. Now the way this is going to sit up here is about like that, with about that much overlap, which means I'm going to have to do a little trimming here. So probably about right there. But when it's up on mounted up here like this, I'll just be able to build myself a little piece of sheet metal and cover that all in. And then the original bracket will tie in there like it did to the wood. And then I'll get to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of the roof. But you're going to have to come back next time to see me finish this. So I'm going to call it a night. I'll be honest, my kids are inside playing, and it's it's after dinner, and it's kind of a weird time right now. We've been spending a lot of time together, and I'm enjoying it. So I'm going to go in there and hang out with them a little bit, get them put to bed, and then I'll just wrap this video up and call it a night. So do me a favor, if you want to see part 2 of this and see how this turns out, it might be a debacle, it might come out all right, just hit subscribe. I'll put a little link here. Subscribe to it, share, tell a friend. Hey, do me a favor and leave me a comment. I want to know what you guys think of this. All right, see you next time.